The cafeteria buzzed with noise, students laughing, lunch trays clattering, conversations blending into one another like a chaotic song. In the middle of it all sat Lily, quietly wheeling her chair to her usual spot in the far corner. She always chose the same table, away from the noise, tucked near the window where the light warmed her face and she could watch the trees sway in the breeze. Lily had been in a wheelchair since she was 6, after a car accident that forever changed her life. Still, she smiled every day. She showed up. She tried. That alone took more courage than anyone gave her credit for. But not everyone appreciated her strength. 3 boys, seniors who prided themselves on being the kings of the lunchroom, watched Lily with cruel grins. They whispered, snickered, and made mocking noises every time she rolled past them. They called her tin wheels, speed bump, and other names that stung harder than any slap. But Lily never reacted. She believed that silence was power. That day, however, something was different. As Lily made her way to her corner, she noticed her regular path blocked. The same 3 boys, Jake, Brandon, and Cole, stood in front of her with crossed arms. One of them kicked her tray out of her lap. The room fell silent. A hush swept through the cafeteria as every eye turned toward her. Before she could react, they grabbed the handles of her wheelchair and yanked her back. She screamed, not out of fear, but frustration. The boys laughed and one of them, with one swift motion, tipped her chair backward. She hit the floor hard. Her body thudded against the tiles, and the entire lunchroom gasped. Her legs didn't work, but her heart did. It raced with pain, confusion, and the humiliation of being sprawled out in front of her peers. She reached out to grab her chair, but Jake stomped on one of the wheels. The sound of the metal cracking echoed like thunder. One by one, they smashed the wheelchair, bending the frame, ripping the armrest off, laughing as if they were winning a game. No one moved. No one spoke. The staff didn't get there in time. And then the door opened. Boots echoed on the floor like war drums. A tall figure in full uniform entered. Broad shoulders. A stern jaw. Steely eyes that immediately locked onto the broken wheelchair, then the girl on the ground. Her face. His sister's face. Lily looked up through tears and whispered one word, Alex. Sergeant Alex Thompson, freshly back from deployment overseas, hadn't even dropped his bags before deciding to surprise his little sister at school. He was supposed to be her hero, always had been. But nothing could have prepared him for the scene unfolding before him. He walked forward, calm and deadly silent. The boys didn't laugh anymore. Which one of you did this? Alex's voice was like ice, sharp and unflinching. Jake stepped forward with a smirk, trying to puff himself up, unaware of the storm he'd just summoned. It was just a joke, man. Alex looked down at Lily, who was trembling but trying to hold herself together. He turned to Jake. You think that's a joke? He asked quietly, stepping closer. You think humiliating someone who can't defend herself is funny? Jake stammered, it's not that deep, dude. Alex didn't raise his hand. He didn't need to. His voice alone shook the room. This girl has survived more pain than you can imagine. She lost her mobility at 6. She gets up every day and fights to live a normal life. And you treat her like garbage. You're not a man. You're a coward. By now, the school security had arrived. Teachers followed quickly behind. But no one stopped Alex. They watched in silence, some even with tears in their eyes. Lily's principal stepped forward to speak, but Alex raised his hand. Before you say anything, he said, make sure you remember what it means to protect the vulnerable in your halls. The 3 boys were taken away. Suspended indefinitely. An investigation was launched. But more importantly, something shifted in the school that day. Lily got a new wheelchair, donated by a veterans foundation within 48 hours. Alex visited every day that week, not just for Lily, but to talk to the students. He held an assembly on strength, not physical, but moral. He spoke about standing up for those who can't. He reminded the entire school that being silent when someone is hurt makes you part of the harm. Lily became a symbol of strength. She started speaking too. For the first time, she told her story in front of her classmates. How she had been afraid. How she hid her tears. How being brave didn't mean being unhurt, but continuing anyway. Students cried. Teachers hugged her. Even kids who had never talked to her before came forward, ashamed of their silence, but now eager to do better. Lily no longer sat alone. The window seat was filled with laughter. And Alex, he was no longer just her brother. He became a legend in the school. A reminder that kindness must always win. The story ends not with a fight, but with a movement. Because one act of cruelty was stopped by one act of courage. And in the end, Lily didn't need to walk. She stood taller than anyone ever had.